Welcome to day number 1 of how to close your first wholesale deal in 10 days. Now today on day number 1, I'm going to show you guys the foundation part of your wholesaling process. We're going to build your foundation and get you started wholesaling the right way. Now the first thing about your foundation, I want you to look, to the right of your screen, right? You see this name, Fred Smith from FedEx. You might be wondering, what does he have to do with wholesaling real estate? Well, Fred Smith is the original founder, owner of FedEx, right? So FedEx, UPS, the one that, delivers packages, right? So this guy, to save his company, talking about having your heart in it, right? To save his company, to save FedEx, at one point, they had to pay a gas bill that was around $24,000. This guy had about $5,000 left to his name, to his company, and he decided to go out, after his investors said they were not lending him any more money. He decided to go to the casino, right? He took a plane ticket, flew out to Las Vegas, went to the casino, and he decided to bet his money, his last of his money, $5,000 at the blackjack table. And, his thought process was, if I, went back without the money, then I was going to be in the same position as I was if I lost the money. So I might as well try to win the money. And he was able to win that money and keep his company afloat. So that to me was very inspirational. So that is why this is written on the back of, on this board back here, because today, the main thing about real estate wholesaling when you start it is mindset, right? And I say, mindset, and I say, where's your heart, right? That's what I ask you guys, to capture the mindset of it. And the reason why I do this is because the mindset, guys, you have to be willing to stay consistent. And what's going to keep you consistent more than, you wanting to get a check, more than you wanting to close your first wholesale deal, is if your heart is in it, if it's a part of you, then you are more likely to stay consistent. So when I say your heart is in it, find a reason that's bigger than yourself, that's bigger than the wholesale deal, for you to continue wholesaling. And you need to find that reason and be very clear about it before you start wholesaling, right? Now that you got your reason, right? Now that you got your purpose, you found your why, now we're going to get started wholesaling real estate, all right? Now, the first thing you need to do on day number 1, the first thing for me, I would suggest for you guys to go ahead and get a Google Voice. Now, I could walk you through Google Voice, but you can also watch my Google Voice setup. But go ahead and just Google how to set up Google Voice. It's not the hardest thing in the world. So Google how to set up Google Voice and then come back to this video. All right, now you got that set up. I appreciate it. You appreciate it. Okay, good. Now that you got that set up, the next thing I'm going to need for you guys to do is to go ahead and get the lead tracker, right? So I really would suggest you guys to download the lead tracker, and I'm going to put that in the description. So I'll put that video in the description. The lead tracker is going to help you keep track of your leads. So any leads that you come across, you're going to be able to keep track of the leads, right? So keep track of the leads, and you'll be able to, if somebody calls you back, you'll be able to refer back to that specific list. Now, I wrote an ebook as well. If you like to learn, more specific information about certain specific avenues of real estate wholesaling, as far as your foundation, you can definitely download that free ebook in the description as well. Okay, now that you got your Google Voice number, right? Now that you have your Google Voice number, your lead tracker, the next thing for you to go ahead and do once everything is set up is, like I said, once everything is set up. So make sure you set up your Google Voice voicemail. Don't sleep on that, right? You got to have a voicemail so they call back. They know what they're calling back for, and they know, who called. So, when they call you, if you don't answer, it goes to voicemail. So let them know who you are, who your company is, and why you called them, right? So, something like leave the name and address of your property that you're interested in selling. So once you have all these little, small things set up, I want you guys to really just get right to it. Right? So when I say get right to it, mind you, today it's about mindset, and it's about setting up your foundation. So mindset and setting up your foundation, I want you to get right to it in the way of starting to call. And if you have a technique, right? If you already have some avenues some ways to start calling, then great, start doing those ways. But I want you to just start calling right off the bat because I want you to just get your feet wet. That's the best way for you to just get comfortable with being on the phone, get rid of your fear of cold calling, all those things. Just get on the phone, simply call somebody and say, hey, are you interested in selling the property on 123 Main Street? Now, I would suggest for you to call a for sale by owner lead. And if you need the help on how to figure out those things, I'll put a video in the description as well. Now, I don't want to just give you guys a list of videos because I really could give you a list of videos on my channel that I already have on the channel, so you could be able to get your first wholesale deal. However, I want to go a little bit more in depth with you guys. Now, this is something that I kind of covered before, but I'm going to touch on it again. One thing I want you guys to do before you, as you are making these leads, you get these calls before on this day number one, before you go to sleep tonight, right? Day number one, I want you to write your intention on a note card, right? So write write goal on a note card. So I want you to write your goal of getting your first wholesale deal in 10 days, right? So, whenever you're starting this, if you're watching this today, then you'll put today's date. And, it'll always be today when you're watching this. So that's the beauty of it. So whenever you're watching this, put today's date and then put 10 days after that, right? Because you're going to go step by step through each day of this process and you will get your first wholesale deal, right? I'm starting you guys off slow though. So this is what I believe are the most important steps to getting your first wholesale deal. I really believe, without overwhelming yourself, and this is me, thinking that you're somebody that either just started wholesaling real estate, you may have heard about it before, you may be not too, familiar with it, or maybe you're somebody who've been on the journey for a while, but you're just looking for a new approach to an old thing, right? So this is what you come to the right place for this, but I want to start you guys off, and I'm letting you guys know the biggest thing is mindset, okay? So one thing that's going to help with that mindset is writing on a note card. I want you to write, I will close my first wholesale deal, and it'll be the date of 10 days after today. So write that on a note card. Don't write anything else, and I want you to hang that up somewhere, right? So, and this, where I'm at right now is my office space. So if I was, here, I would hang this up on, somewhere around my office space so I could look at it every day, all day, right? This helped me when I was back at JD Byrider and, I was, cleaning cars. At my car station, at my cleaning car station, I had that written up on my board. I put it up on my board and I still can see the note card to this day. And I wrote, when I closed my first wholesale deal, when it didn't happen by that date, I wrote it again. But it's going to happen for you in the next 10 days, okay? So now that is very important. So make sure you do that. Now on this journey, guys, if you aren't familiar, I want you to watch the story of how I got my first wholesale deal. Right after this video, I want you to watch that story, right? In that story, you're going to hear how I gave, I said I passed up on basically making a deal more difficult so I could possibly earn about $13,000 more than I earned, which was $4,000. So I was going to earn about $17,000. I passed up that money because I was in a position in life where I felt like I had to do whatever I had to do to get out of that position, to get on to the next stage of life. For me, that was my full-time entrepreneurship journey, which I've been on ever since. I want you to figure out what is it for you that's going to keep you going, right? Figure that out right now on day one. Before we start anything else, before you start telling people you're wholesaling real estate, before you start any of those things, figure out what is going to keep you going. Once you're clear on that, go on to the next steps that I just listed. Now, tomorrow, we're going to touch on something different. We're going to get more active tomorrow. But today, this is foundation building. So you should have your Google Voice number. Very important. You can listen to my video if you want to figure out why it's important. But very important, voicemail for your Google Voice, your lead tracker, right? So to get set up for your leads. And also get your feet wet. Start making some calls today. So when you come back here tomorrow, you're ready to really get to work, all right? Now, everything is set up. This is about the foundation. the building of the mindset, and also you got a vehicle. I want to make sure you guys got a ship that you can go ahead, hop in the ocean and start canoeing on your own boat. Now you got that, and now we're going to get the canoeing tomorrow. So make sure you are, if you haven't already, hit that notification bell and also subscribe so you can get the step in with your boy tomorrow. As always, as long as your heart is in each step, you are already a success.